What's going on, people? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Obviously not in the greatest of circumstances after a 1-0 loss to Manchester City. We've been chilling in the Don Robbie studios. It's not really been the best of circumstances, but I'm here with my guy Max Fosh.
Yes, how are we?
Not the best. But let's talk about this game. Chelsea won, Manchester City won, Chelsea 0. I said going into this game, 1-0 would have been the most likely outcome, just weren't really sure towards what team. And I can't lie, we played very defensive football. A lot of people are going to say we got dominated because of that. But do you have any issues with the way that we playing two up top for the first time? Do you think that the experiment worked, or do you think it was the wrong game to try it out?
Look, you can always sit here after a result and just say, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done that. But sitting back against City is the way that you kind of counter, and then you get those opportunities on the counter. In the first half, we did. The best chance in the first half was Chelsea coming from Werner on the break.
Yeah.
So I think we set up in the right way. It's just in the second half when things started to open up after the goal, we needed to create more chances. Brought on Havertz to try and get that going, but there just wasn't enough creativity there, I don't think, in the second half.
Yeah, not really. And it's kind of been the thing that we've said the most about the Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic free in midfield, especially back in the Sarri days, where it's great for retaining possession, but in terms of turning that into attacking chances, we don't really see enough of it, and it showed its head again today.
Yeah, we've got some incredible players. I mean, that midfield of Jorginho, Kovacic and Kante just completely control a game. But we see that as soon as we take one of them out, like with Kante, suddenly it just kind of blows wide open. And so maybe there needs to be a little bit more creativity again. But, I mean, how can we get any more creativity with the players we got on the bench with the Ziyech, the Havertz, the Mount? They're not quite in form, and they might not quite be fit. But we can't be complaining about lack of creativity when we've got those players on the bench.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to go into this reaction and just start slandering players and start slandering the system, because I understood why we played that way. It's just maybe right now wasn't really the right time for it. But with hindsight now that we've got, would you have set up any differently going into that game, or do you think it was just a case of Man City came into it with the better mentality? They pressed us from the start, and they were just a better team and deserved to win.
Maybe if I was to do anything, it would maybe take Kovacic out and bring on Havertz, so we had a front three, and then just have the two holding midfielders. But then again, we have no idea how that would have been effective with the City press straight out, because we saw at the beginning of the game they were all over us. So having those three at the back was really, really useful. Three holding midfielders. So maybe if I'm clutching at straws here, mate, but if I was to do anything, it would probably be to take Kovacic, not start Kovacic, and instead bring on, or have a Havertz there as well for a bit of pace.
I do want to talk about Lukaku for a little bit as well, because we've been seeing it in the comment section of the stream, and we're going to be getting it on here as well. Everyone's saying Romelu Lukaku isn't a big game player. He had a go show today. Do you really blame him for that, or do you think it was just a case of just lack of service? Because he had barely any touches of the ball, but no one really fed him like that.
He did well. I mean, he did what he was designed to do, which is hold the ball up and then get players to move forward and then give it out. As you say, he didn't have any clear-cut chances about this is your time. He held the ball up pretty well. I think he did what it was needed for him to do. But because of the price tag he's got, people think that he is just a magic player and will be able to bang in goals. And then they'll be comparing him to the Ronaldos of this one. Yeah, but they're completely different players. If we look, Romelu Lukaku has won us already 2 games that we probably weren't going to have won. I mean, if we look at definitely the one in the Champions League with that header.
Yeah, the Zenit game.
The Zenit game, he won us that game. And to a great extent, the Villa game a couple of weeks ago, he won us that game as well. So no, I don't. I think he's a brilliant player. He's perfect fit for Chelsea. He just he wasn't given the opportunities today to thrive.
Yeah, we'll go into Man City a little bit as well, because I do want to talk about the way that they played. And they pressed us from the off. They made it really hard for us to play the ball out of the back. Even when we went 1-0 up, I expected them to probably sit back and then just try and hold the lead they had. They kept pushing us, and they could have had a few more goals as well.
Yeah, they were very, very impressive. Their finishing could have been better, especially towards the end of the game, but Edouard Mendy was just an absolute beast in goal. Fair play to them. They played tactically a very, very good game. There were some good performances from them. Diaz did well to just quell Lukaku a little bit. Grealish played pretty well. So I think tactically they did it well, and they took their chance with Jesus off a pretty fortuitous deflection. But hey, that's how it happens, and these things happen.
Yeah, final two questions. First thing I want to say is any positives you saw from the way that we played, or any individual performances that you thought stood out at the very least? So the first person I want to shout is Edouard Mendy.
Yeah.
He kept us in the game for long periods. That could, if that was a Kepa in goal, or if that was Kepa from past seasons, definitely feel like we conceded a few more goals in that. But he was catching so many corners in the first half because that was all that we were dealing with. And the second half, he did really well to keep the game steady as well. He had that great Grealish save towards the end of the game as well.
I would also, everything you said is totally true. Thiago Silva as well had to come on after Reece James had to come off with an injury. He had that goal line clearance, and also was just a nuisance for so many of City's attacking players. Who else I think did pretty well? Of course, your Conte and your Jorginho's always standing out for that during that match. But other than that, no one really put their name in the hat.
Yeah, and just as a final question, how do you feel this leaves us going into the next few games this season? Because we've already seen people start panicking and saying that we're overrated or anything. Do you think that this game means anything in the grand scheme of things? Has it opened up any question marks about Chelsea, or is it really just top two going out and just not really much to tell the difference?
No, it's the two best teams in the Premier League going at it, and in a tight game. The Premier League is won and lost against the so-called smaller teams. It's the dropping the point. Like last season when we were dropping points to West Brom just for fun. It's those games. It's like we saw just today with United dropping points at home or losing at home to Villa. Like that is where you win or lose the Premier League title. It's not the big games. Yes, they really can help with momentum and the swing of things.
Smaller sides,
but it's the smaller sides because there's 38 games of the Premier League season, and you're playing for the big guns maybe 6 times. So it's those 32 other games where you've really got to make sure you're clinical, and we have been clinical in those games. We Spurs 3-0, Villa 3-0, even when we shouldn't have. Probably, I mean, it was a tighter game than 3-0 suggested. And with Liverpool, when we were down 10 men, we showed loads of fight to keep a draw in that game. So, no, I think it's still looking pretty good for Chelsea as one of the title contenders this season.
Definitely. So, guys, I want to say the same thing. Do not worry yourself too much about this performance. But you guys already know, smash the like and subscribe button to Chelsea Fan TV and to my personal channel, Carefree Lewis G, as well. You guys should all know Max Fosh by now, but if there's anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm going on a stand-up tour. If you like stand-up, I'm doing a tour around the UK. Just find tickets on maxfosh.co. Just .co. It's a bit weird and modern and not .com. But yeah, come down to that.
Yeah, guys, check it out. Smash the like and subscribe button, and we're out to try and forget this result. Take care, peace, and up the Chelsea.